Hello and welcome back to the Matrix Greenpool podcast. I'm your host, Hilmarie Hutchison, and today we have a really special guest, Nathalie Khouri, the creative director of Ralee Design House. With over 15 years of experience and a deep passion for Feng Shui, Nathalie has been creating elegant and harmonious spaces. For the past 5 years, she has been transforming homes and businesses across the UAE. We're excited to explore her journey and dive into her expertise in design. Nathalie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh my God, thanks for having me. Hi.
So to get us started, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you ended up in the UAE?
I've been in the UAE for 18 years. Back in 2006, I came on this whim, just like every person coming to the UAE. It was a 2-year project. I said, I'm just coming. I'm going to enjoy the weather. I came all the way from Montreal. I remember landing in Dubai in December. It was supposed to be a short vacation and, experiences and see what the city was all about. 18 years later, here I am in love with the city and making it my home. I obviously started my career here in the UAE in marketing. I was working in probably the best brands in the world. I have to be very honest. I was very lucky and obviously hard work as well made my career what it was and what it is today. So I worked with the best brands from Apple to Reebok to Bloomingdale's. I headed their marketing departments, activations. It was amazing for about, I'm going to say, a good 15 years.
Fantastic. I'm going to stop you there before you go too far. As you said, you've spent 15 years working with these huge global brands and campaigns. How did these experiences shape your approach to interior design today?
I've always been that creative mind. I think this is what marketing is all about, is about defining, brands, is about making brands, creating brands. We did incredible activations and events just from scratch, created all these beautiful events and to connect with that consumer, right? So it had this huge moments to every single campaign we did. So I think that creativity that I had somewhere was really ingrained inside my body. And I'd go off on a whim and say, you know what? Interiors was a big thing for me as well. Throughout even my personal life, my home was always my sanctuary. So I think that's where I felt like I needed to do something with it. So yeah, here we are today.
Let's talk about Ralee. First of all, you have to tell me the story behind the name.
It's so cheesy. So one thing I learned in the corporate world is that when you do have an idea, don't dwell on it too much. Just do it, execute it. I know a lot of people sometimes have to sit and think for hours and months and years about branding and kind of what the right name is and what the font colors are and so on. It was really a moment where I was sitting down and I kind of looked at my kids and I said, really, this company, if I'm going to go into the entrepreneurship world and if I'm going to leave the soft cushion, the world of corporate, I'm dedicating it to them. It's as cheesy as it is. So it's my daughter and my son's name combined together. So Rafi and Leela. So it made Ralee.
Oh, I love that. That's not cheesy at all. That's brilliant. So let's talk about what inspired you to start Ralee and how has your design vision evolved over time?
Just like any good COVID story, Ralee was born during COVID. I was in the midst of probably the peakest, highest of my careers, but I sat home in COVID questioning everything. It wasn't one of those sexy moments where you go, oh, I have an idea and here we go, we execute it. No, it was really in those moments of where we are in COVID, you're worried about the world, worried about what's going on. I remember sitting at home and saying to myself, what is happening? We were locked up. And I think when the world slows you down, you start questioning everything. And that was my moment. I sat at home. I was questioning, I think, my career. I remember it was probably the first time in 15 years where I actually slowed down, where I actually sat at home and I looked around me and said, I hate where I live. All this money that I made and all this savings that I have, I'm not comfortable in my own home. It wasn't something that I was happy to sit and I wasn't proud of it. In COVID, I started started spending money on my house. I did what I did best. I started taking videos and pictures and the marketing brain that I have, and I kept track of everything, and I posted it on my, on this page that I created out of nothing. Just little things here and there, DIYs I did by myself, me and my husband. We did a playroom, him and I. We built it for my kids because my kids were going crazy sitting at home and doing nothing. So we built this playroom and I kept track of it and I posted it and I marketed it. And one thing led to another. People were reaching out. And I said, I think I have something here. I think there's something special that I can actually do by myself. That's how Ralee was born, because of my kids' playroom.
What a fascinating story. So, as you say, COVID gave everyone the opportunity to do a lot of self-reflection about where we were in our lives. And this helped you to start telling your own story through the playroom you were building for your children. Absolutely fantastic. Can you share how your Middle Eastern roots influence your design choices and how they bring charm to the spaces you create?
I've traveled the world. I was so lucky with my corporate job that I got to see every probably country, every European country, every Western country, every Asian country out there. And I have to say, from all the travels I've been, the Middle East and probably Lebanon is one of the most welcoming countries that I have ever been to. I've never seen people that are so open door to anyone, any stranger. That's the thing I think that was in my blood, right? So when I say I bring a Middle Eastern touch to a home, is that I make it welcoming. There's a certain element that when you walk into a space, you feel like it's cozy. It's like yours. It's home. It's welcoming, right? So it's not cold. A lot of places are so beige now, and a lot of places are so gray and everything's monotone. I think the touch that I bring in is that element of Middle Eastern touch. So it's got a little bit of coziness, a little bit of character. That's what that touch that I think that makes Ralee what it is into any space that we do. So you always feel like when you walk into our Ralee spaces, you go, oh man, this is kind of cool. I feel at home.
Yeah, you bring a warmth and a coziness in your designs. I know that one of Ralee's guiding principles is to listen deeply to your clients' needs and bring their vision to life in ways that they couldn't imagine. Could you maybe walk us through your process of translating a client's desires into a design concept?
I never ever meet my clients in an office or in a coffee shop or in places where I can't imagine their space. Whichever room, whichever place that we are renovating, we have meetings inside of them. I'll sit with the client, whether it's in their bedroom, whether it's in their living room, and I'll ask them really how they live in that space and what they envision the space to be. A lot of times people don't do that. They don't really put themselves in the feet or in the space of the client. They tend to kind of think that this is a vision that they have in their minds and this is what they want to execute. Designers tend to have that, right? I'm a little bit of both. We bring our touch into the space, but I really, really want to make sure my client voice and their opinions are taken into consideration, because at the end of the day, this is their home. They're going to wake up every single day in this space. As much as I want it to be my creation, it can't just be my creation. It has to be our creation. I really take the time to spend it in that space that we're designing, wherever we are. And I really take that time to listen to the client. And whether, they are pointing at a window or pointing at a door or pointing at a bathroom or at a wall or whatever it is, from that moment that's where we're bringing that design to life. We really work together to make sure that it's a creation made by both parties.
So just as much as you have the knowledge and the understanding, you're not focusing on forcing your own preferences, but rather understanding what the client's vision is and what they would like to see.
Absolutely. We bring our twist to it. We bring our flair to it, but it is really their voice at the end.
That's lovely. Now, being part of the International Feng Shui Guild and a certified practitioner, how do you integrate Feng Shui principles into both residential and commercial projects to create spaces that not only look good, but feel good?
I think this is probably where the magic happens. A lot of people underestimate the power of Feng Shui. And I know in every space that we walk into, that's where I'll make it even more special, because I'll make it that comfortable space where if you're sleeping in a bedroom, I'll make sure that the energy flow is the right flow for that bedroom. Energy is so powerful in any space. And if you use it to your advantage, there's so many benefits into it, whether it's your health, whether it's your wealth, whether it's your work, whether it's your sleep. These are all powerful tools that you can benefit from if you do the right energies in the space. So I'll give a perfect example. It's going to be a super short one. If you're sleeping under a window, that is really negative energy because energy flows from a door to a window. So if you're in that path of the energy, you're probably not going to sleep really well at night. That's a tip that we make sure every single client has, that, your bed, it has to be up against a solid wall. So not a lot of people actually think about these things. Sometimes designers think, oh, it looks really pretty under a window, so let's put it there. But in fact, it's not really a comfortable room at the end of the day. You're designing a beautiful bedroom. You're spending a lot of the client's money on it, and he's not going to sleep really well into that room. So I think Feng Shui is something that I discovered along my journey in interior design. And when I discovered its power and its benefits that it brings into a space, I go, no, I need to take some time, certify myself, do it the right way. That's the element that we bring and that benefit that we bring. That's why when we say it's you walking into a space and it just feels good and it's welcoming, it's a lot of the Feng Shui elements that we apply into that design.
Fantastic. In fact, you just took my next question, is give us a tip. So I love the tip that you shared. Thank you for that. I think a lot of people are going to quickly be able to fix one small energy problem if their bed is in the wrong place. Do you see any other mistakes people make when it comes to the energy flow in their rooms, or whether it's offices or home, that we could share with our audience?
I'm going to do an office tip now. There's a lot of obviously home tips. I want to give one of my favorite ones when it comes to the office. Whether you have like a home office or an office in a corporate space, we tend to stick our desks up against the wall. That is probably the worst thing that you could do as far as creativity. If you're staring at a wall literally all day long, how creative can you be? Not that great, right? And then your back is just kind of floating into this empty space all the time. So it's probably going to take you a lot of time to write an email. It's probably going to take you a lot of time to come up with a really good idea. You're just blocking yourself, just staring at a wall all day long. So my tip is actually turn that desk around. I know it's probably awkward. I know it's probably not always the best way to do it if you're in a bedroom or, your desk is somewhere, but try to find that right place in your house where your desk, your back is up against the wall. So you have that solid wall and your back is resting up against that wall and your desk is open. So you're actually staring into a room or into a space. So you don't have a wall in front of you to block you. So your back is solid up against the wall and then you're staring into an open space. That's really important. And that's where the creativity flows. And you tend to do more work like that.
That's an excellent tip. I'll say, I think we've done very well in our office. We don't have one desk up against the wall. Maybe that's why the team is so creative, because they're all facing open space or facing each other. So there's more openness. I love that.
That's very good.
Thank you very much for that. Now, you've worked on a variety of projects in the UAE, ranging from room styling to full renovations. What has been one of the most rewarding projects that you've worked on and what made it stand out?
We don't drop names. I hate it. But we've worked with probably the most prominent families in the UAE, and I'm so lucky to have had that portfolio. One client in particular, she's actually my friend now. So I think I can drop her name and show that off. But when we first started together, it was a business relationship, and she's a very prominent photographer here in the UAE. And I remember walking into her home, and it was probably one of the most beautiful homes I've ever been to. And I literally said to myself, why does she need me? I didn't understand. Why am I here? She has one of the most beautiful homes. Didn't understand. And she made me walk into her majlis, and she said to me, I don't like my furniture here. Probably in her opinion, they weren't nice. I didn't really feel anything wrong with them at that time. That was her mandate. That was her project. She really wanted to work on custom furniture pieces, and she wanted them to be super unique and just like her character and her beautiful home And she pushed me. Oh my God. It was probably one of those projects where I was like, I don't understand what she wants. In my mind, everything was so perfect in her house. And she just wanted to push the envelope on those furniture pieces. And I remember coming up with the craziest ideas. And I combined wood elements and stone elements into this coffee table. And I said to her, I sketched it up for her and I showed it to her. And, that was after like maybe 10 different sketches. And then when she saw that last sketch, she goes, finally, Nathalie, you're doing something unique. And I looked at her, I was like, what? And she goes, this is what I was looking for. I wanted that unique touch. And you finally gave me something that I'm not going to find anywhere in the UAE. And I think that was my aha moment where I said, I have it. I got that touch. And she pushed every single creative element that I had, and she brought out the best in me. And I remember when we finished that project, I took her out for coffee and I just thanked her. And we actually had a very heart-to-heart conversation about, our careers and how we started. Finally, it bloomed into a friendship. Like, she's my best friend now. We go out and we travel, and I thank her for really just pushing that boundary of mine. That was one of those projects where it started off really tough, but really probably one of those most rewarding I had.
Wow, what a fantastic story. She could see that you had more in you to give her something unique. And so she brought out the best in you. And then for it to flourish into a friendship, it's fantastic. I can see why that stands out. For sure. I know that your design philosophy also emphasizes understated luxury. How do you achieve that balance between luxury and subtlety in your projects without overwhelming the space?
I have to say, being in the UAE, you're exposed to so much luxury and very loud luxury, from the cars on the road to the homes you walk in. And sometimes it's a bit obnoxious. I think throughout all the homes that I've visited and all the homes that I've done, something that I actually really appreciate is quiet luxury. It's those homes that actually have the incredible amount of money, but they do it in such a quiet way and such a subtle way where it's not in your face and it's not obnoxious and it's not loud. And that I appreciate. And throughout my design elements, I found that unique mixture of bringing out the really beautiful space, and it's luxurious, it's not obnoxious. And I use a lot of wood elements, but then I mix, rare stones with it, right? So whether it's a marble stone that's rare from Italy, or it's a travertine in a red color where you can, rarely find it, I'll combine it with some wood elements just to quiet it down and make it that much extra special. That's what we kind of tend to do. We try to work with those two earth stones together, and it brings out something really special, unique, but also very elegant at the same time.
Sounds beautiful. Fantastic. Now we've come to the segment of our show. We'll ask you some rapid fire questions, our version of a game show. Are you ready?
I think so.
If you could redesign any famous landmark, which one would it be?
I'd have to say probably Montreal's Park in Montreal. I'd have to redesign their cafeteria and their bathrooms.
Coffee table books or statement art pieces, which would you choose to elevate a room?
Statement art piece, hands down.
What's your favorite space to relax in after a long day?
My bed.
What is one thing you do every day, no matter how busy you get?
My CrossFit class.
Very nice. Well, thank you for playing along. That was easy enough. Now I'd like to ask you our signature question about your green pool moment. Could you share an inspiring or life-changing experience that you have gone through, your green pool moment?
My friend, ex-client, his furniture pieces come to life. I think when that sketch was done, and then when I saw it in her space, that was when I said to myself, I have a really good, profitable business. I'm proud of myself. And it was a moment where I said, I can do this. I have it in me. That was my moment.
Her belief and her pushing you and it being a success at the end of the day. That was that moment for you. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm sure our audience will thoroughly enjoy this conversation as much as I have.
Thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure to talk to you, and you made it so easy and so comfortable. So I really appreciate this.
Now, before we say goodbye, could you please tell our listeners where they can find and follow you? And we'll also put this in the show notes.
Yes, follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Ralee, RALEE.me. And my webpage is ralee.me.
So easy. That's lovely. Well, thank you again for joining us. I wish you and Ralee Nathalie all the very best, and I will be following your journey as well.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it.
And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode with Nathalie, please leave us a 5-star review and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode from us. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations. Until next time, keep dreaming big and chasing those goals.
If you enjoy our conversations, please like and subscribe. See you next Wednesday.